Welcome everyone to Preston's National Gallery. Today, we'll be taking on a trip. Come with me, class. Today, we'll be talking about the Bill of Rights. And this right here it is. Can everyone see it? Any questions from the class?
Where's the writing?
You see, it doesn't look like there's much writing, but when it was made in 1791, there was a bunch of writing. It's just all faded out from the time, and there just isn't much to it anymore, but it still is very glorified. Here you go. I'll take it from here. Alright, and now I'll be presenting you with information about the Bill of Rights. So like I said earlier, it was made in 1791, and basically what it all comes down to is it's the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. So the American Bill of Rights was drafted and made by James Madison, but it was mostly inspired by Thomas Jefferson. So these 10 amendments that made it up ended up becoming, it was called the Law of the Land. So I'm going to take you through just what the first 10 amendments was. So the First Amendment, that was freedom of speech. So that's not just speech, it gives you freedom of press, religion, and gives you the right to protest. Obviously, there's some guidelines to this, like protest. We've seen protesting get kind of taken advantage of in situations in the world today, but you still are able to do it in a healthy way. Religion is a big thing that you need in your life, because if we don't have freedom of religion, then the world gets really shaky and dangerous, and we see that in countries today. The Second Amendment, that protects the right to keep and bear arms. Again, that's a common debate today on what exactly are the arms you can bear, how many, and all this. That's one that's kind of getting questioned today, but again, whatever is said in the Constitution goes. So you are able to bear arms, guns today. So the Third Amendment starts from before the Revolutionary War. The British soldiers, before the Revolutionary War, would kind of be able to take over private homes of different civilians in the country to give themselves a place to stay for the night. And that Third Amendment prevents the government from being able to do that. It gives you the right to a private home, and it doesn't allow homeowners to allow soldiers to use their homes. You still can allow soldiers to stay in your home, but it just isn't forced based off that amendment. The Fourth, that bans the government from unreasonable search and seizure of an individual of their private property. So this is kind of like a search warrant today, how the government and the cops need a search warrant to search something that's private of yours, such as your car or your home, or just anything private that you own. And yeah, that it just keeps them from being able to just search anything of yours without a warrant. And the Fifth Amendment, this goes into more the jury type of situation, which is what a bunch of the rest of the amendments are about. So any serious criminal charges must be stated by a grand jury, and you cannot be tried twice for the same offense. Again, we see that a lot today, to where people are given a no guilty, they're proven not guilty, but then stuff comes up later in life in which maybe they were guilty, but you just can't try that anymore. It's just not something that the government allows, and it's not something you're able to do. A situation like that in today's world could be like the O.J. Simpson trial. He was stated as not guilty, but I think it's pretty obvious. I don't know what a bunch of people think now, but based off what I've seen, I think he's guilty, but you just aren't really able to try that again. No matter how much evidence you get, you aren't able to try it. The Sixth Amendment, so that gives you the right to a speedy and public trial. And that is so you aren't stuck in jail for a long time before your trial. Before people could be stuck for years and years before this. But now that's actually illegal. You have to be given a speedy trial, and you have to be given a trial by an impartial jury. The Seventh Amendment requires federal courts for big cases. So if it's a big case, you need you need a jury for federal courts. It's not a usual amendment. It's kind of just common sense almost in today's world. But you have to have a jury for federal trial, and you don't have to have a jury for lower offenses such as a speeding ticket. That'd be a little ridiculous if you had a whole trial and a jury for a speeding ticket, which is why I say it's almost common sense. But for example, a homicide, you would need a jury for that. And then the Eighth Amendment bars excessive bail and fines and cruel and unusual punishment. That's such as, again, a speeding ticket, but you're given life in jail. That just isn't okay, and it's something that this amendment protects you from. Because again, before this, that's what was going on in some cases, and that this amendment really protects you from that, and that's a very important amendment for a bunch of stuff today. So the Ninth Amendment, this goes back to kind of the common sense thing. It states that all the rights not listed in the Constitution belong to the people, not the government. In other words, the rights of the people are not limited to just the rights that the Constitution say. So there's some things that the Constitution just doesn't say that you have obviously the right to. And again, these last three amendments have all kind of just been about common sense. But some things that aren't taken, and some people try to twist stuff even though it may be common sense. And these amendments protect you from trying to twist anything. And this one especially tries to stop the government from twisting stuff, and the government to not have those rights that aren't listed, and instead they give them to the people. And the 10th Amendment says that the federal government only has those powers delegated in the Constitution. If it isn't listed, it belongs to the state or to the people. This is like the Ninth Amendment. If it isn't listed in the Constitution, then it belongs to the state or the people. Definitely not the federal government. So the state can have some say on things above the people, but eventually this amendment is trying to, again, protect the people from just overruling from the federal government. And so that was kind of my speech about the Bill of Rights. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a